So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Honestly, I've been pretty annoyed and sad today. So I woke up about 3 or 4 hours ago. I decided, yeah, let's go up and play some Pokemon Go because that shit's fun. So I get up to town and then the servers kind of die and none of the Pokestops are working. I was like, well, this was a waste of time. Better come home. And then I slam my finger in the door when I get back and that hurt like fuck. So I'm like, well, this is just turning out to be a shit day already. But then I watched this video and suddenly all my life problems seem to just go away because I think it gets to the point where you laugh so much at something that nothing else matters. And oh my god, this video is it's beautiful. So we're gonna watch it today.
You're talking a lot of shit. You better destroy me, or you're gonna look like a real asshole.
And we're just gonna go through it. We're gonna have some fun.
Hello there, meatbags. I'm Anarchy Ball.
So yeah, see what I mean already, guys. You got the top hat, the suit, the monocle, and the cane, just to show the class of the individual making the video.
Oh, you think I'm classy? Thank you.
And then you've got that intro with the just perfect, rock music and the gun and the money in the background. I love it. It's perfect.
It is. It really is.
You know what? I almost feel like outclassed.
You most certainly are outclassed. And you look like a crackhead, so yeah, definitely outclassed.
I don't think I can deal with him being that much of a gentleman while I'm just here like this. So give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, now we are ready, milady. Genuinely wondering if I should actually wear this for the rest of the video or not.
But hey, Anarchy Ball, you may ask. Without government law, aka extortion, imprisoning people like animals, and force, how can we correct undesirable behavior?
The Edge, it's too much. I can't. I can't.
Well, I'm here to answer that question. In America, you vote for rulers who decide what businesses and policies should exist and what shouldn't for you. In an anarcho-capitalist society, we cut out the middleman and let you vote for things directly by letting you vote with your wallet.
Voting with your money. The one form of democracy where you get more votes depending on what family you're born into. I don't see how that can go wrong at all.
The vast majority of people are semi-poor and middle class. They make up the majority of the votes. The rich only make up a very extremely small percent of the population. Their votes will hardly matter at all. Let's say a business is engaged in pollution and abuses its workers, or some bad behavior like that. In an anarcho-capitalist society, this violation of earth and human rights would be expressed in reviews and all over the media, and therefore people would not do business with them, and that company would fail, and its policies and its violent acts against humanity will cease to exist.
Okay. So, let's just assume for a moment that somehow we do figure out, all of these bad things that the companies are doing, because let's keep in mind that obviously it's going to be in the interest of these companies to not let people know about this, so they might try and cover it up, the fact they're destroying the environment or having horrific work conditions in some third world country that no one cares about.
What happens if your lungs suddenly give out today? Oh yeah, you die. If one part of the system stops functioning, yeah, the whole system fails. But luckily the media never has stopped doing its job, and it's very effective at exposing companies, especially when they try to keep a lid on things. How can a company keep something under the rug when the people of that company are being oppressed and are rewarded justice for exposing the wrongdoings to the media? It's very rare that any company can keep anything from the media.
So, and then let's also assume that the media that's reporting this isn't owned or is biased to the company that's committing these atrocities. Let's assume that the person who owns this media outlet also might have shares in the company that's committing these atrocities. Would you think he's gonna say, hey, look everybody, don't buy from this company?
That's dumb as fuck, dude. There's more than one mainstream media source. There are hundreds. Actually, more than that. He can't buy them all off. And let's say the company does own one mainstream media outlet. If they get caught defending that company and lying for that company, that too would be exposed in the media and make national news and make it even worse for them. Not only that, that company can't buy individuals off who speak on YouTube, for example. There's so much wrong with everything you're saying.
But okay, let's assume for a moment that we do have some kind of unbiased media source in an anarcho-capitalist society somehow, okay? No one gives a shit if companies are, damaging the environment or have horrific work conditions for their workers. Because the thing is, it's common knowledge that there are many companies Particularly, let's take for example Apple. Okay, everyone knows that the factories that they use in China have just terrible working conditions. Conditions so bad that it just destroys the mind of anyone working there, and most of them commit suicide. Like, well, not most of them commit suicide, but enough commit suicide, okay? The thing is, everyone knows that this is where Apple products come from, but Apple is still one of the most profitable corporations in the world. If people live in a society where money is the most important thing, and then it's like, hey, you can save some money for being unethical towards a group of people that you don't know and will never meet and don't really care about, people are going to do it. People just don't care. You can't rely on the goodwill of the population to just stop buying things from potentially unethical sources.
Let's assume the system is working and people do stop buying their products. What will happen? Oh yeah, the government will bail the companies out and save them, allowing them to pursue any terrible practices they want. Realize if the consumer had power and a choice and government wouldn't get in the way, just like an anarcho-capitalist system, for example, they would be more likely to have a chance to bring that company down. And if people voting with their wallets doesn't work, in an anarcho-capitalist society, private courts would bring those companies down. Also, I find it funny you think that people are too dumb to vote for things and said we need rulers instead, but those rulers would be human too and carry the same flaws.
The only way to stop this is for removing the idea of profit altogether, so there are no incentive for companies to intentionally damage the environment or intentionally make their workers' conditions worse.
Ever heard the expression, don't bite the hand that feeds you? That goes perfectly for this. Companies are going to try their best not to piss off their consumer. The market regulates itself. It doesn't need violence of government to do it. And without government force, we will no longer have cops killing people for nonviolent crimes. Also remember that 80% of the world's prisoners are in there for nonviolent crimes. That's right, 80% of the world's prisoners shouldn't fucking be in there. 80%. Getting rid of government will solve this problem as well.
Right, now obviously I agree that the police force in today's society is pretty fucked, and that people shouldn't be in prison for, victimless crimes, like taking drugs, for example. But what he doesn't seem to realise is that it's very much in the interests of the ruling class and the state today to put people in prison and criminalize taking drugs. And this is because a lot of extremely poor people will take a lot of drugs and then get into the drug game or the black market, and it essentially keeps them in their place, distracts them from doing something in society and keeping the poor. Things like the drug war is very much a tool used by the ruling class to keep themselves in power.
Fucking wow, dude. Nice conspiracy theory you got going there.
And the only way that you can actually stop this is by removing the ruling class. Even if you move to an anarcho-capitalist society, there are still going to be groups of people who would prefer if drugs were criminalized because it economically suits them in the long term.
You probably think I'm a greedy capitalist pig, but you know what? I want drugs legalized. What the fuck are you talking about? Another solution to replace police is private security. Like I said, anything the government does, private markets could do better.
Right, so here he just plays a news clip of talking about how great the private police force are. I'm just really going to skip this bit because as far as I'm concerned, a police force is a police force, whether they're under the state or under just the capitalists in general.
Police get to use extortion, kidnapping, imprisoning people like animals. They get to get away with pointing guns, searching your car, and violating your rights. And they get to use force. Private security can't do any of those things. That's what makes them better. That's what makes the difference.
They're still going to be served to oppress the working class because it's in the bourgeois' interest to oppress the working class.
That, of course, assumes the working class and the capitalists are somehow enemies. They're not. Any animosity there might be has to be trumped up by the socialists.
He also talks a little bit about how much cheaper it would be to have private police. And what I find interesting about this is that he hasn't actually provided any sources for this, but we will assume for a second that it's true.
Oh, it's so nice of you just to assume that it's true. Although that the private security in the video and the news source itself stated that it was true. The damn news video itself was my source. And not only did the private security in the news say it was 2 times cheaper than police, but it also stated they were 2 times more effective than police. And even stated the amount of crimes that were with police and how many less crimes they had with private security. And it was in fact true. They had 2 times less crimes with private security than there was with police.
It only focuses on this one aspect of the state that you're paying for now. He's saying, oh yeah, without the state we'd all have so much more money. And I find that interesting as well, because going by basic economics, that line the ANCAPs like to pull a lot of the time, if everyone's suddenly richer, then won't inflation just kind of cancel out most of that anyway?
No, that's not how economics works. Yeah, and no, wealth and money aren't the same thing. Wealth is the quality and the quantity of goods and services that circulate in an economy. Money's the total currency.
But anyway, if you focus in on this one police thing, then yeah, probably people have to pay a little less for that.
It's not only 2 times cheaper than police, it's also 2 times more effective. I find it very convenient for you that you keep forgetting that little fact.
However, believe it or not, the police aren't all that the state does. Let's take, for example, now this may be a bad example for the Americans, but I'm going to go with it anyway because it's the first one that kind of came into my head. If you're in England, okay, and suddenly we go to an anarcho-capitalist society, we have free healthcare here, yeah? So someone who doesn't really have many health problems may probably end up having to pay less because they're not paying the taxes anymore, and yeah, they now need to pay for their police department and the fire department and that, but that's okay. They were essentially kind of ish doing that through taxes anyway, and they save a bit of money. Now let's take someone who has like cancer, okay? This person now no longer has the free healthcare provided through the collectivized taxes of the country. This person is going to be significantly worse off because now they need to pay a shit ton more to treat their own cancer.
Well, luckily, he's not paying anything in taxes, so now he's filthy fucking rich, and he pays for insurance. And the fact that he pays for insurance, he's covered. Wow, look at that.
So really, you can't just say that everyone is going to be better off because you don't know the individual circumstances of every person and how much they rely on these services.
Let's be honest here. Most of your tax dollars are fucking wasted by the government. Last year, the TSA spent $1.4 million on an app that just points left or right. That's all it does. They spent that much money. Let's be honest here. The government wastes money by the truckloads. You're much better at spending your money than the government is at spending your money.
And how much more they would be spending on these services if you were just to abolish the tax system. Of course, though, I don't believe that in a tax system or a kind of capitalist system anyway. I believe we need to move to socialism, so this is kind of a moot point from my perspective.
Makes sense. You seem like a guy that lacks that much common sense.
But I just kind of wanted to get in this flaw in your logic here, and how you're just kind of, again, focusing on this one thing and not thinking about anything else.
You may be wondering if there would be courts. Yes, there would. They would just be privatized, and they would be better than the courts that we have today.
Oh, okay, privatized courts. That just can't go wrong at all, because we all know that economic interest doesn't result in biases of any form. So if the courts are running for profit, then they're not going to have an incentive to kind of bend the laws anyway, are they?
That can happen today. And I don't see anything preventing that from happening today, and it doesn't happen, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And not only that, private courts will most likely have a jury, not a judge. And a jury is really hard to pay off discreetly, so I don't think anyone's going to be getting paid off.
And what's even more, if you have, I've just thought about this, as I said the word bend the laws, who defines the fucking laws?
Again, check out that Machinery of Freedom video, that explains all of that. I don't have time to get into it right now.
If you have a bunch of different private courts, then isn't your sentence going to be different, like between each court?
Oh no, different laws in different locations? That's like having different laws in different states and countries. That would be complete chaos. Oh wait, we have that today, and it works out just fine.
Surely, because obviously if they're private courts that don't have to follow this one universal law, and then they can kind of just make up their own laws to suit their own economic interest.
Oh my god, just like states and countries do today. That would be chaos. Oh wait.
This just doesn't make any fucking sense.
In our next video, we will address how to combat those dastardly corporations.
There's only one way, and it's through glorious revolution.
Anybody else would just imagine this kid being part of a revolution? It's kind of a funny thought, isn't it? This kid is the last person I'd be afraid of.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. This was really beautiful. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you guys did too. So, thanks for watching, everyone.
Your video has literally given me cancer. Guys, please follow me on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you.